There's no sound coming out of them. I kind of want to hear it.
And even the law enforcement, the criminal law
Second Lady of the United States. Second Lady of the United States.
when they are seated. We know that not just because of the horrific way they're treating these protesters.
Yeah, Terry, I think it's
Aggression.
Should we what?
Members of my fellow American, our nation,
I don't hear a
back,
thing.
is back, bigger, better, richer,
I don't hear anything if I take the headphones out.
You do not shoot into a car where there's another one of your colleagues at the driver's side door. You do not shoot someone on the car.
your output is your microphone. So click on this again.
Yeah.
And click that. And then that should be your headphones.
The 250th anniversary of
The MacBook?
Are your headphones still plugged in? Can you plug
No,
in?
I did not play.
July 4th will
How did that happen?
2.5 centuries
I don't know.
of progress, freedom, in the most incredible sensation ever to
Excessively, violently,
We're going to do better. Golden age of
balls and tear gas and ripping people out of cars, ripping people's homes.
When I last spoke in this chamber 12 months ago, I had just inherited a nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels, a wide open border, horrendous recruitment for military and police, rampant crime at home, and wars and chaos all over the world. But tonight, after just 1 year, I can say with dignity and pride that we have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before, and a turnaround for the ages. It is indeed a turnaround for the ages. And we will never go back to where we were just a very short time ago. We're not going back. Today our border is secure. Thank you. Today our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. And our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked. And America is respected again, perhaps like never before. After four years in which millions and millions of illegal aliens poured across our borders, totally unvetted and unchecked, we now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far. In the past 9 months, zero illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States. But we will always allow people to come in legally, people that will love our country and will work hard to maintain our country. The flow of deadly fentanyl across our border is down by a record 56% in 1 year. And last year, the murder rate saw its single largest decline in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years. 1900. In fact, substantially before my wonderful father, I had a wonderful father, Fred, before he was born, substantially before he was born. That's a long time ago. He wouldn't like me to say that, but that's a long time ago. The Biden administration and its allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. But in 12 months, my administration has driven core inflation down to the lowest level in more than 5 years. And in the last 3 months of 2025, it was down to 1.7%. Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states, under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster. It is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places $1.99 a gallon. When I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline. Mortgage rates are the lowest in 4 years and falling fast, and the annual cost of a typical mortgage is down almost $5,000 just since I took office. 1 year. And low interest rates will solve the Biden-created housing problem well, at the same time protecting the values of those people who already own a house that really feel rich for the first time in their lives. We want to protect those values. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. And we are going to keep it that way. The stock market is set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that. 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's way up. In four long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe. Think of it. Much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. The hottest. As thousands of new businesses are forming factories, plants, and laboratories are being built, we have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a very short period of time. It's getting bigger and stronger. Nobody can believe what they're watching. American oil production is up by more than 600,000 barrels a day, and we just received from our new friend and partner, Venezuela, more than 80 million barrels of oil. American natural gas production is at an all-time high because I kept my promise to drill, baby, drill. More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think about that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today, and 100% of all jobs created under my administration have been in the private sector.
Okay. A couple of observations. What does the hottest country mean? Trump loves to say that.
NDEI in America.
Well, that'll get a big round of applause. He ended it in large part by intimidating corporations who once embraced it and quickly abandoned it.
A record number of job-killing regulations, and in 1 year we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record off of food stamps.
Well, that was partly by cutting eligibility. Yeah, that was partly by cutting eligibility.
I say tonight,
all right.
of Congress,
State of the Union.
Of our union is strong.
He doesn't sound strong, though. I will say this. Look, he's got a tremendous amount of energy. But to me, watching him tonight and listening to him, his voice sounds a little fainter than usual, right? It sounds like he's almost a little bit out of breath. Maybe I'm wrong. You can weigh in.
Our country is winning again. We're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it.
A little higher pitch. Yeah. By the way. Okay. See, he sounds like a higher pitched voice. Oh, the men's. All right. I mean, you gotta. Oh, he's having them march in. Well, this is a bit of political theater, and look. You gotta love these guys. They won the gold. It was fantastic, but the moment was marred by Trump calling him in the locker room as a president should, right? And then saying, "Yeah, I got to bring the women too." But if I don't, they'll impeach me. The women have declined now to be part of this. So it is a sign, really, of Trump's ability to make the most unifying moment in our country, all of them, a dividing line. But 3 cheers for the U.S. men's hockey team and the U.S. women's hockey team, who were far more dominant, right? Nobody scored a goal on them for most of the games. Both of them, though, should be there. And the fact that they're not shows what's wrong with our country right now. He can't let well enough alone. He is a guy who just by his nature wants to put anybody who disagrees with him down. And he's got certain attitudes about women. He's got certain attitudes about, he's going to walk down. Oh, boy, it's like a rally. I have not seen, in all of the State of the Union addresses, I've not seen a president come down from the podium and start strutting around like that. They're up in the press gallery. That's what that is. That's why the reporters, in the press gallery. I used to sit up there. It's great to see.
It's the first time I've ever seen them get up. And actually, they get up. But they beat as did the American women.
Oh, I thought they weren't. All right, well, perhaps I stand corrected. I'll believe it when I see it. I hope they do. I'm old-fashioned. I think these things should bring us together and not divide.
It's nice to meet you, physically. Good.
So that's a nice moment, and I can't blame the men's hockey players for getting caught up in this. It was Trump with a dumb and insulting joke.
Okay, nice. Nice.
Second
Okay.
graduation.
I don't think I know how to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Took a vote.
You should definitely, you should refer to
Then one vote
Yeah.
not voting.
Amazing.
So there's a lot of
Yeah, Majid, yeah. Majid's in
Halaba.
Yeah, he was amazing. All right, he was amazing. And this is something I think, once again, I'm old-fashioned. Presidents should praise American accomplishment, right? And that guy was amazing. He was a wall. He must have stopped 40 shots in the third period. It was amazing. And the Democrats are up. That's right. All right, Connor. Well done. All right.
46 shots on the ass, and the one shot where you stick in the back and hit the neck of your stick. So you practice that with that elected. You refuse to answer that question. But I just want to tell you, members of the race squad will be very happy to hear their vote tonight. This was my
your phone number. Let me try to send you.
that I will soon be
The actual document to you.
honoring the highest civilian honor which will be given
My goodness.
many athletes.
Go for it.
Called the highest civilian honor in our country.
Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's quite something.
No, this is, it says
Although Trump has given it to some people who didn't deserve it, but that's an amazing honor. That really is. It is the highest honor. And I love those events, actually. I covered a bunch of them at the White House because they're our greatest scientists, our greatest artists, our greatest athletes, business leaders.
Great athletes have gotten that very great. That's what he deserved.
And yeah, you can just text me. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you get back to it.
Every single
It's were you in town tomorrow?
I saw that. What a special job you did.
I just want to make sure you saw it because I know a lot of people are like.
All right. Well, he's milking it a little bit much, but there's nothing like a great athlete that a president can stand next to and kind of bask in their glory a little bit. He's not the first president to do that. Lots of presidents have done this. But let's get on to the State of the Union, which is troubled, sir.
I'm also pleased that the next time we look at torch, it will be here in America, for the 28 Olympics and the summer version right in Los Angeles. You do a good job in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he'll use that as well as a theater for his promotion. That's just too easy to spend that way his whole life. He's a businessman. He's a reality TV star.
Los Angeles is going to be safe, just like Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities in the country.
I'm just going to, it's impossible to fact check Trump in real time, but a couple of things.
I got him in the first term, disappointed because I think the president strange things took place. Now got him. I got
250.
And then when they I wanted to blame the 250 claim that one for myself. We're getting the World Cup.
Yeah, it is. It's good, clean fun. But I just want to fact check one thing he said earlier. He said when Biden was president, he took office, we had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Not even remotely true. A lie that he was told.
Kept it free. Made like buddy,
Okay. There we go. And we have my dear friend, fellow political junkie Mary Alice Parks is back with us as the president goes through the these traditions of praising Americans, bringing them into the president's box, basking in their glory a little bit, and lifting them up for the rest of us to admire.
Came home, started the family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday.
Oh my goodness. Good on him. He looks like he's in good shape for 99 years old.
Yeah.
Look at that. World War II veteran. There aren't many of them left. Thank you, sir. All right.
You're a brave man, and we salute you. Even in times of challenge, setbacks, and immense heartache, the spirit of 1776 has always shown through. It was July 4th, last year, Blood Waters Tour, and girls' summer camp in Central Texas. Rising 26 feet in the matter of minutes, tragically claiming many lives. That one. As the waters threatened to show away 11-year-old Lily Kate, claiming, closed her eyes and prayed to God.
And my son
Thought he was going to die. Those prayers were answered. Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin descended from a helicopter above. Nobody knows where he came from. It was Scott's first ever rescue mission. Very brave, very top, always top class. And he lifted not just Billy Kate, but 164 others to safety.
Does feel a little bit like a missed opportunity, Terry. These are people that he's applauding and excited about, but they don't really have anything to do with his policies.
Generally, it's harder to
People watched Scott from a distance, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The winds were blowing, the rain was pouring, everything was going in that rapid water. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. They said, wow, this is something. Tonight, Scott and Billy Kate are here together, reunited for the very first time.
You know Johnson? Yeah, I'm working with him. He's one of, I've like, people who knows that are working with him, trying to help me
And Petty Officer Ruskin, I'm pleased to inform you that I am now awarding you the Legion of Merit for extraordinary heroism, is what it was. Extraordinary heroism. Thank you. And I'd like to have the military aid to please come down. Take care of this, From 1776 to today, every generation of Americans is step forward to defend
I
life,
can't help it,
liberty,
Terry. My
the
brain,
pursuit
with all
of
this Texas talk, goes straight to the Texas primary that's next week.
next generation. But now it's our turn.
Such a big question about whether Senator Cornyn's going to be able to keep the Republican nomination.
Go further.
largest tax cut. How did you do under that tax cut? Think about that. How did you do? Also, it's not. I mean, I suppose. Look, it's math. You can probably slice it in some way that's the largest, but not really the largest.
Well, it's also just showing in the polls how many Americans are now saying they actually feel. Mm.
All right, and
It's interesting just how many parts of the bill Democrats did like, but just couldn't bring themselves to vote for, considering the big cuts in other ways.
So this is Mary Alice. If you can hear me, this is
I can
essentially.
hear you.
Yeah. So this is what we're looking at. A lot of presidents do this. He's reciting all of what he believes are his accomplishments. He hasn't gotten to the tough stuff yet, where he's not working.
No. And this is a long way in to have not gotten to any of the tough stuff.
Yeah.
He's lost people already, no doubt. But the tax bill is so interesting. I just keep thinking about how they struggled to sell it. They're people focused on the cuts, the Medicaid cuts, the Medicare cuts. That that was what landed in so many communities.
Because it hurt.
And that's the challenge the Republicans know they're facing this year.
No question about it. And I mean, it's hard for people to grasp unless you are that rich. But this is a huge windfall for the richest people in America.
Yeah.
I mean, if that message really seeps in, people don't want to necessarily tear people down. They'd like to be rich someday. Yes, you did. Like he didn't rename the Kennedy Center.
The Trump accounts, I will say, though, Terry, really interesting. A lot of Democrats like that idea as a policy idea. I mean, we saw Democrats push baby bonds in different states years ago. The question is, are they going to try to get other people to sign up? It'd be one thing if it was automatic enrollment, but you have to opt in. So who will have the wherewithal to fill out extra tax paperwork? Could this actually just create more inequity if basically wealthy, educated families are the ones that know to opt in and get $1,000 for their kids? That's a real issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of nonprofits that are trying really hard to lobby the White House to switch it so that it's automatic enrollment.
I mean, that's the question. Is he making the economy better for everyone or just for people who are as rich as he is?
Right. And how accessible are some of these ideas? They might sound good on paper, but if you can't figure them out or if there's no follow through, that continues to be a problem. And like with his big New Eastman project, he's relying a lot on private funding.
Right. Mary Alice, what is your bet on how long this goes? How late are we here?
I was inclined to say it wasn't going to be as long as his joint address last year, since he kind of took some flack for how long it went. But now I'm going to change my mind. It feels like we're going to be here until 11 o'clock. It was a long intro, long conversation about the people in the box, and kind of surprising when the people in the box. I mean, everyone wants to celebrate the gold medal winning team, but it's different than highlighting people that are directly affected by your policies. So we're like 40 minutes into this coverage, and he's barely talked about people impacted by his policies. Yeah, I think it's going to be long. What do you think?
It's gonna get to the Supreme Court here, right?
Okay, yeah.
This is tariffs.
Mhm. Mhm.
Feed from Trump himself is difficult to hear for people. But let me just note one thing as long as we're covering it. I'm surprised that Donald Trump didn't tear it at the Supreme Court. That was very mild.
Yeah.
He knows this is really important. He wants to steamroll everybody in his way, but he can read the polls and he can see that the majority of Americans, substantial, like 70% plus, do not want him to disobey an order from the Supreme Court. Or people still have a sense of their checks and balances of our government. And so look how carefully he tiptoed around them. I'm disappointed. Anybody else who gets in his way, he tears them a new one. But not the Supreme Court. That's telling.
Well, not the Supreme Court today. I mean, he tore into them.
Yes.
But in this moment, he understands the picture is the picture of checks and balances, and that he's not supposed to disrupt this theater of checks and balances.
This is going to be the biggest audience he has all year,
Right.
probably.
Right.
So he's got.
But I do think it's worth fact checking a little bit of what he said on tariffs there, Terry. He's talking about still using it as a negotiating tool with other states and with other foreign leaders. And the reality is that while there might be more legal backing to some of these other ways he's going to put tariffs in place, I mean, he doesn't have nearly the same leverage to negotiate around them. There's a ceiling, there's set rules around the size of these tariffs. There's a timeline where Congress would have to get involved to make them more permanent. So, and every single head of state in every other country knows that he doesn't have the same level of negotiating sort of power under these other authorities he's going to try to use.
And he's already breaking the law, right? He says, well, this 15% tariff around the world, that's illegal. His own lawyer in the Supreme Court of the United States said, we aren't doing that tariff because that tariff has to do with something that isn't related at all, and we don't have the power to do that. He admitted in his oral argument about the old tariffs. He said, we're going to do the tariffs that Trump is doing now. So he's on very thin ground. People are saying that Trump is imposing these new tariffs because of trade deficits that the law gives. But actually, it's balance of payments deficits. It's a very different thing. And his own lawyer told the Supreme Court we couldn't do that. We wouldn't be able to do that. So it's just a matter of time before these tariffs get struck down.
Or run out of time. And we obviously know Republicans on Capitol Hill are not interested in voting to end them. They're going to try as hard as they can to delay that. Any vote like that.
Yeah, think of that.
Yeah.
Price of eggs.
Thank you for joining us today. Thanks, man. Thank you. Oh my God. Is there a reason you are not watching our president? It sounds so funny to say. I needed a comic. I just took a
But yeah, that's not. I mean, people still can't afford things. He's talking about the price of living, basically the cost of living, and people, whatever he says about the price of eggs, the price of meat, you ask people if they feel their paycheck covers their needs and desires. And I'm not talking about fantasies. I'm talking about just what they want for them and their family. That's the problem he was hired to solve. That and immigration. He's underwater. People don't like the way he's done it, and he still is way underwater in the polls on the economy.
Well, this is where it's so hard. It sounds so, frankly, so much like President Biden trying to say that everything's better.
That's it.
And that's the problem. People don't feel like it's better.
Right.
So how do you go out there and both acknowledge that people don't feel like it's better, but also try to sell some wins? It's so hard. Biden knew how hard that was.
Because Biden, one of the reasons that Biden was rejected is people don't believe you, don't believe what you're telling them.
Yeah.
If the facts of their own lives contradict you. They're like, what are you talking about?
One thing that's so interesting, I can't figure out with the cabinet shot there, is I don't see Energy Secretary Wright, who, like, he must be there. He's not in that shot, so it's strange because obviously he's the one that was just on the ground in Venezuela. Like, they're talking about getting more oil from Venezuela. That's going to bring down the price of everything. Well, I wanted to talk to you about oil, and I don't see you.
Well, maybe he's the designated survivor, right?
Oh, yes, maybe.
So, for those who don't know, one member of the president's cabinet does not come to the State of the Union in order to preserve the succession. If everybody, like a huge bomb drops on the Capitol, everybody's wiped out, who's president? Well, the law says that you go down the list: vice president, then the Speaker of the House, then the president's cabinet. It's in the order of the date by which they were established. The Secretary of State's first, and Secretary of the Treasury second, and on down. And one of them has to stay home. Just in case the whole Congress gets blown up, we'll still have a president.
Yeah. Well, the hardest part, too, is that, well, on a practical level, all the cuts to NIH, cuts to university and funding and research make that impossible. Like the drug development pipeline starts with research. But more to that messaging point, even if he makes serious progress bringing down the cost of prescription drugs, what people are thinking about right now is losing subsidies to buy Obamacare and Affordable Care Act plans. And they've had such a hard time with just a larger messaging picture around healthcare. You can't fix a fundamental inability to buy health insurance with some cosmetic stuff on the. I mean, it's not cosmetic. Bringing down the price of prescription drugs would be very big, but it's not where the focus is. If people are just terrified that they are going to lose their health insurance altogether.
Yes. Yeah. Do we have a text of this? I'm going to see if I get sent a text. I don't think so. Well, actually, the math from 4,000 to 500 is $3,500. He's always got to gild the lily. He's always got to exaggerate. For example, I mean, he just did the math in front of us. She was paying $4,000 a month. Now it's 500, a decrease of 3,500 and much more. Actually, it always has to be bigger. But good for her. I hope it's helping her.
I hope that's true, because that is big. And it is one of those things you hear about on the campaign trail with voters all the time. The system is too expensive. Everyone knows it's broken.
Yes. You know, the fact of this is that the only people who are really going to listen all the way through are people who are already his supporters. He's probably already lost the attention of people who are like, you know, what are you going to do for my life? What are the practical, pragmatic things? And he's trying to say this, but if they aren't feeling it, then they aren't going to really, they're going to tune out.
Yeah, maybe not West Coast folks.
All right, let's see what he has about this. This is a huge. All right, here's another anecdote. This is a good policy. This is a good policy.
Mm-hmm.
Sneaking into the fucking staging area and
You need a law.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that the Democrats should stand for as well. Come on.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, frankly, it's really similar to some of the stuff that Kamala Harris proposed on the campaign trail.
yes.
They know this is an issue.
Yeah, we have to build more housing, and we have to stop corporations from buying up the land and turning them into rentals and all the rest of it. Why take housing for purchases off the market like that? I think that's a great thing. People need to be able to get started in life, you know, by buying a home.
Totally.
They just do.
And this is him acknowledging a frustration point for people. Acknowledging out loud that this is driving people insane. People should be able to buy a home, and it feels too hard, and you shouldn't have to make an all cash offer, you know?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So this is uncomfortable for this president to acknowledge when things aren't going well, but this is what his team has been asking him to do more of.
You know, I will also say this. This policy that he's just talked about, this policy that he's just talked about, which is stop corporations from buying up houses, single family homes. That shows how not he is. Trump is not a Republican. Trump is not a Democrat. He's a nationalist. He's a nationalist. He wants to use the instruments of national power to reshape the country in the ways that he believes it needs to be reshaped. And in his way, that's authoritarian in some ways. But in this, it's like, why not stop corporations from doing this? Why not spend a lot of money? He once talked about building 50 million homes in the United States or something like that. That's not a Republican.
No.
Members of Congress, well, that's good. Come on, Democrats, you got to say they've been proposing that for years.
Well, some of them are. You see.
Yes, that's
actually on this one, some of them are.
And you're clapping for the idea, not the man.
Yeah.
And members of Congress shouldn't be trading.
But actually, that looked like nearly half the Democrats stood up there.
Yes.
And well, the half of the Democrats who are present.
What you got? See, as soon as you do clap for him, he's going to try and take advantage. He's not a stupid man politically
Yeah.
by any
No.
means. Very, very skilled politician in his way.
I mean, it's a little rich coming right after he was talking about AI and data centers and, obviously some Trump family financial gain around other parts of what they're doing. But
yes,
this is a bipartisan bill.
Here he is with the Somali fraud.
Probably we should come here first. Yeah.
No, but
are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings us problems right here to
Now, we aren't importing cultures.
the American people who pay the price of higher
I mean,
medical bills.
that's that weird ethno-nationalism that has taken over the Republican Party. These are immigrants. Like my ancestors, like they aren't importing their culture. I mean, they bring their culture, but they're here to make their lives better. And the history of our country shows that most of them do make ours better too. Now, if you're criminal fraud, of course you go to jail. But the way he talks about it is.
Delilah Coleman was only 5 years old in June 2024 when a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more. The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Doctors said Delilah would never be able to walk or talk, have a good life. She wouldn't even be able to eat again. But against all odds, she is now in the first grade learning to walk. And she's here this evening with her dad, Marcus, a fantastic man. Delilah, please, you are a great inspiration. Please stand up.
Of course, immigrants commit crimes at a much, much lower level than do Native Americans, American citizens. Most immigrants here are far more law-abiding than Americans. Of course, you can find instances like this.
Thank you, Delilah. Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location. That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
It's interesting. I was listening to the dean of the Minnesota delegation on Capitol Hill today, Congresswoman
And
McCollum,
yesterday,
and she was talking
as you
about
probably saw at the White House, I
forget
hosted
the
a
people,
ceremony with
undocumented immigrants,
Americans
or
who
people that
lost
might
their
have different
treasured
immigration
loved ones
status who were
to the
terrified
scourge
with the
of
surge in
illegal
Minneapolis. But how
immigration
many
who
U.S.
came into our
citizens were
country, how
so
we allowed this to
terrified of the
happen with
surge,
open borders.
Black
These are
and
the
brown
angel moms
Americans
and
who were so worried
families
about
that
getting
for
picked up
decades
that the
our
economic
government
cost of
betrayed
businesses
and
that
our
had to
media
close in
totally
Minneapolis
ignored,
because
totally
of
ignored. It
the
was terrible.
surge. And what it
Hard to
got,
believe,
which was
actually.
getting at, was like,
In 2023,
you can
a
have issues with
16-year-old
immigration,
high
but
school
everyone
cheerleader
right now
named
is talking about the
Elizabeth
enforcement and the
Medina
enforcement being
was
so
supposed to perform in
so
the
shocking and
town's
so
Christmas
detrimental to
parade,
communities,
but she
citizens
never
and
arrived. Her
non-citizens
mother,
alike,
Jacqueline, went
that
home to look for
neighborhoods
her,
won't
and she
survive that
found her
level of
lying dead
fear
in a bathtub,
and fear
bleeding
mongering and
profusely
violence if
after
we see
being
it continue to,
stabbed
to sweep across the
25
country like
times.
that.
Lisbeth's killer was a previously arrested illegal alien who had broken in and brutally extinguished the brightest light
Hey,
in
Terry,
her
can you hear me?
family's life,
Great,
violently
great.
and viciously. Her
Happy to be
heartbroken
on.
mother is in
There
the
you go.
gallery to remind everyone in this chamber
Scott is
exactly
a
why we are
candidate for the
deporting
Democratic
illegal alien
nomination
criminals to our
for the
country
Senate
at
in the
record
state of
numbers, and we're
Mississippi.
getting them
And he's a
the
rising
hell
star
outta
in the
here
Democratic
fast. We
Party.
don't want them.
I appreciate that, Terry. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. We're along for, I think, a long ride. It feels like we're less than halfway through, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, listen, I think we're definitely in for a late night.
Yep. So
Thank
you're
you
running
very
for
much,
Senate.
Jeffrey.
Hang on. I
Thank
just want to
you.
hear what subject he's
We
picking
can
up
never
now.
forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you.
Say, Scott, when you go to voters in Mississippi and they say something like that.
Well, what I tell them is, as district attorney,
As we speak,
years,
Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of
Everybody
Homeland
understands
Security.
that we gotta keep our community
All
safe,
cut off.
but you know,
They have instituted
it's good that the
another
border is
Democrat
secure. That is-
shutdown, the
that's an
first one
important
costing
thing.
us 2 points on GDP.
But we also have to have
2 points
accountability
we
and
lost in
transparency
GDP,
when
which
it comes
probably
to
made them
immigration
quite
enforcement.
happy.
That's what voters are telling me. They
Now
want
they have
transparency,
closed
they want
the
accountability.
agency responsible for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security, homeland security of the United States, and also for helping people clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats, and it would be nice. We'd love to give you a hand at cleaning it up, but you gave no money. Nobody's getting paid. It's a shame. So you have to think about it. We have, in case you didn't know, a pretty large snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight I'm inviting every legislature to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
That's a stunt. How effective is that, do you think, Scott?
Well, I think it's important. You know, it's important to protect American citizens. That's the kind of common sense principle. I think that what's, obviously, people's hearts and minds right now is what happened in Minnesota and Minneapolis with those murders and the lack of accountability, the lack of transparency. So the real issue is not, you got to have enforcement of our immigration laws, but you have to do it in a way that protects people's rights. You have due process. You have to make sure there's transparency. And if anybody violates the law, you got to have accountability. No person in America is above the law.
All right, Scott, if you get elected to Senate, if you were in there, would you stand?
I would stand. Because it's important to acknowledge that is an important thing, protecting American citizens. I don't think that's a controversial statement.
Wanted to create.
Yeah.
The Democrats don't want to protect you.
But I think a lot of the Democrats in the room talk about even U.S. citizens who have felt under threat when they protest right when they try to call out what they're seeing ICE do in the streets.
Not only under threat, but there have been more than 100 Americans, U.S. citizens, arrested, incarcerated without access to lawyers, never being read their rights. More than 100. No president has ever done that since maybe Lincoln during the
Isn't
Civil
that
War.
a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords,
Someone's yelling.
murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, this is what he wanted to do, put him on the spot like that.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, I'm going to say that as you run for the Senate in the state of Mississippi, that moment just hurt your campaign.
And perhaps most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act.
Terry, I don't think it does, because for me, I'm a common sense Democrat. I'm not
Stop
trying
illegal
to
aliens
go to
and others
DC to be a super
who are
partisan person.
unpermitted
I'm going
persons
there to
from
look out for
voting
Mississippi.
in our sacred American
That's my message. That's what I hear from the
elections.
voters in
And
Mississippi.
cheating
That's
is
what they want.
rampant in our elections. It's rampant. It's very simple. All voters must show voter ID.
But all voters already show voter ID. No state allows you to vote if you don't show an ID. None.
And that's not what this law does. This
Right.
law isn't about showing a voter ID. This law is about showing a birth
All
certificate or a
voters must
passport.
show
And half of
proof
Americans
of
don't have a passport.
Citizenship. in
And a
order
lot
to
of
vote.
women don't have a name and an ID that matches their birth certificate. So it sounds good, show
No
voter
more
ID,
crooked
but show an
mail-in
ID to
ballots
vote.
except
but
for illness, disability,
That's not what this bill
military,
does.
or travel. None.
And he doesn't want the mail-in ballots, of course. Even though some
This
states.
should be an easy one. And by the way, it's polling at 89%, including Democrats. 89%.
What's he saying?
Well, he's just talking about mail-in ballots, but I don't think that's true.
Oh.
It's got to be this one.
No. I mean, the thing about mail-in ballots is it's the
And
only
even the new
ballots with a paper
communist mayor
trail.
of New York City. I think he's a nice
Yeah.
guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good. No good. Both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly agree on the policy that we just enunciated. And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens.
Well,
There's been a lot of pressure on Thune to bring it up. He says there's no votes. We've seen folks who say they should challenge the toaster over this one piece of legislation, but Thune doesn't want to go there. The Republicans are really divided on bringing the bill even further.
They don't want to do it.
Huh.
Why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason.
All right. Look,
They
you can.
make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat. They have cheated, and their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And we're going to stop it. We have to stop it, John.
This is one of the worst things that Trump has done is call into question any election result that he doesn't like, says it's rigged or cheating. But Scott, I want to ask you, how How would the SAVE Act, if passed, impact people in Mississippi?
And here is one more opportunity to show
I'll tell
common
you,
sense in
the point you
government.
made about birth certificates.
In the
There are a
gallery
lot of
tonight
Mississippians
are
that don't have
Sage
their birth
Blair
certificate
and her
with them.
mother, Michelle.
And,
In
it's similar
2021,
with
Sage
passports.
was 14 when
There's
school
a lot of
officials
people
in
that don't have
Virginia
passports. They
sought
don't
to
travel internationally.
socially
So it's going to have
transition
a
her
coupling
to a
effect. Now,
new
you
gender,
have
treating her
voter
as a
ID for
boy
voting in Mississippi.
and
You
hiding
can't vote
it from her
without a
parents.
voter ID in
Hard to
Mississippi.
believe,
Yeah,
isn't
of
it?
course.
So, yeah.
Before
So,
long, a confused Sage ran away from home after she was found in a horrific situation in Maryland. A left-wing judge refused to return Sage to her parents because they did not immediately state that their daughter was their son. Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and
Even a lot of
wonderful young
Republicans don't want
woman with
anything
a
that federalizes
Fulbright
elections.
scholarship to
Like
Liberty
that to your
Yeah.
point, Terry, about
Sage and Michelle, please stand
Republican,
up.
Sort of core values. Anything that puts federal standards over what has always made the election safe, which is state policy and the fact that every state has control of their own elections. There's a lot of Republicans that are just not remotely interested in anything that looks like nationalizing
Thank you
elections.
for your great bravery. And who can believe
Absolutely.
that we're even speaking about things like this? 15 years ago, if somebody was up here and said that, they'd say, what's wrong with him? But now we have to say it because it's going on all over numerous states without even telling the parents. But surely we can all agree no state
Terry, you
can
want me
be
to come back
allowed
on when
to rip
we're at
children from their
conclusion?
parents'
Yes,
arms and
let's do
transition
that.
them
Let's do
to a
that.
new gender against
Thank
the
you, Scott.
parents.
It's going to be a
I can't
while.
believe that
Yeah,
we've been
it's going to be a long night.
We'll see you in a bit.
We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately.
And this is the transgender health care for minors. And this has divided the country and damaged Democrats because most people don't think it's right for
These
this
people
to happen.
are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Some Republicans standing and applauding while he calls Democrats crazy.
Amazing. Incredible. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
I mean, he's hitting them on their weakest issue. Really, the transgender rights and the whole concept
No
of
one
it.
cares more about
bad
protecting
for
America's
Democrats.
youth than our wonderful First Lady. Now a movie star. She's a movie star. Can you believe it? Who would have believed that? Over the past year, she has had an incredible impact championing AI legislation, advancing a landmark executive order on foster care, and helping secure $30 million to launch the Melania Trump Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. It's a tremendous, really a tremendous thing that happened and had a lot of bipartisan support. She gets much better bipartisan support than I do. I get
Sorry,
none. She gets a
my
lot.
the feed is
Someday you're going to have to tell
slowed.
me how you did
It's
that.
like buffering.
And students
But I'm
and
actually
educators
surprised how
in every
quickly he
state
moved
have
on.
joined
The
the
problem
First Lady's
transition for
efforts in
Republicans
the
is
presidential AI
like,
challenge, keeping America's
not that
next
much more to
generation
do,
positioned to
and
succeed
you
and
know,
strongly succeed in
they've
the
hit
future.
point on the campaign for
Tonight
so
we welcome
long.
two young
And
people
they're right
whose
about where a
lives
lot of the
reflect
country
the First Lady's
is,
impact.
but
Sierra Burns and Everest
Don
Nevermont.
wasn't anything else to say.
Thank you both, and Melania, thank you. I know how hard you worked on it. Thank you very much.
A whole hell of a lot of the rest of us.
Melania, who is has a movie out, which Jeff Bezos of Amazon paid.
I'm very
$70
proud to say that
million
during my
for.
time in office, both the first 4 years and in particular this last year, there has been a tremendous renewal in religion, faith, Christianity, and belief in God. Tremendous renewal. This is especially true among young people, and a big part of that had to do with my great friend, Charlie Kirk. A great guy, great man. So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred, really martyred for his beliefs. His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us tonight. Erica, please stand.
It hard, that moment. It hit the whole country hard. Young man, young father struck down like that in front of all of us. He helped remake the Republican Party.
Went through a lot. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind.
The recent political violence has been the other way, but yes. Are Democrats rising? Yes. All right, there we go.
I mean, that
We
feels
love
pretty
religion,
baseline.
and we
Yes,
love
thank God.
bringing it back, and it's coming back at levels that nobody actually thought possible.
And-
It's really a beautiful thing to see.
You know, a lot of
Above all,
Democrats
unleashing America's promise requires keeping our communities
have
safe.
such
We've made
admiration
incredible strides,
for
yet
the level of
dangerous repeat
engagement and
offenders
involvement
continue to be
that
released
Charlie Kirk was
by
able to get from young
pro-crime
voters.
Democrat politicians again and again. We are
They
honored
might not have
to
agreed
be
with one single
joined
thing he
tonight
said,
by
but they appreciated
a
that
woman
he
who's
brought
been through
conversations to
hell,
college
Anya
campuses.
Zuretska.
Man, Democrats
In
would like to figure out how to do
2022,
that.
she and her beautiful daughter, so beautiful, what a beautiful young woman. Irina fled war-torn Ukraine to live with relatives near Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget there were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zuretska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
Another awful, awful incident. Once again, immigrants, legal and illegal, commit crimes at a much lower rate than Americans commit crimes, than citizens commit crimes. They are
How do
overwhelmingly
you not stand?
less
How do you not stand?
prone to criminal
I'm asking this Congress to pass tough legislation to ensure that violent and dangerous repeat offenders are put behind bars, and importantly, that they stay there.
I mean, look, people agree with that. Of course, people agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a gimme.
But, and she
Starting
does
last
deserve
summer,
justice
I
in every
deployed our
way.
National Guard and federal law
It's just,
enforcement
it's the
to restore
country has moved
law
on to a
and
different
order to our
conversation on
most
immigration right
dangerous
now
cities,
when they're
including
seeing
Memphis,
people that have
Tennessee,
never
big
committed a
success.
violent crime, you
New
know,
Orleans, Louisiana,
rounded up
big
with kids
success.
rounded up, and that
And our
and
nation's
so
capital itself,
he's
Washington,
using talking
D.C.,
points
where we
from
have
a year
almost
ago and
no
5 years
crime
ago.
anymore in
The
Washington,
country's thinking about
D.C. How
it
did that
very
happen?
differently after the scenes it's seen.
By 20 plus points on immigration, which is one of his. It was
In
his
fact,
signature
crime
issue.
in Washington
Right.
is now at the lowest
Maybe it
level
works.
ever
Maybe it works to go
recorded,
back
and
to these kind
murders
of
in D.C. this
Trump talking
January were
points,
down
but I just
close
feel
to
like
100% from a year
people
ago.
are thinking that they're getting something they didn't sign up for.
So a 100% decrease in murders in D.C. from a year ago last January. He's attributing that entirely to the presence of
They
federal
don't like to hear
troops
that.
on the streets
One
of
of
the city.
sick people, one of the brave service members who helped achieve this stunning turnaround was 20-year-old West Virginia Army National Guard Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. After a 4-month deployment, she voluntarily extended her service, and her rank was going to be lifted. She was doing so well. They were so proud of her. But the very next day, she was on patrol near the White House when she was ambushed and shot in the head by a terrorist monster from Afghanistan. Shouldn't have been in our country. And all because she wore the uniform of our nation, she was shot. He traveled here because he didn't like people wearing our uniform. He was sick and deranged, shouldn't have been in our country. Sarah Beckstrom died in order to defend our capital, and we are honored to be joined by her wonderful parents, Gary and Evalie. Your daughter was a true American patriot, and she will be greatly missed. She was a great person. I saw reports on her. They've never seen anything like it.
Well, I am certainly, it's the right thing to do to honor somebody who was defending our capital. What about the police officers who Trump's mob attacked? You won't hear him praise them for defending the Capitol and winning that fight. But this is a moment, obviously, when this young person signing up to be in the military
Thank you very much.
was killed.
A great young lady. I saw reports that were like perfect. She was perfect. Serving alongside
this is
Sarah
absolutely
that day
devastating.
was Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf. The terrorist shot Andrew in the head, and no one thought he could possibly make it. The two of them, Sarah and Andrew, both shot violently in the head. Neither was expected to make it.
The head,
They
not
weren't even
violent.
given a chance, except his wonderful mother.
I mean, it raised a lot of questions about
named
where these
Melody, who
National
I
Guard
spoke
troops
to
should
the
be,
same night.
what they signed up for.
And she was so
But
positive.
no one can deny how
The
horrible this
doctors thought
was.
that
And
Andrew was gone. But his mother said, no, Mr. President, Andrew will be fine. He's going to make it. I've
And
never
this
seen
is-
anything like it. I mean,
this is the kind of
he was given
moment
almost
that
no
presidents
chance.
want to make, take in a
She said, I
State
have
of
no
the Union.
doubt,
Like,
sir,
of
he's going
course
to
you
be
acknowledge
okay.
the families
This was
of
a
fallen
conversation
soldiers.
that I had with her that night, with her son laying helplessly in bed, blood all over. Everybody is praying, she said, sir, he will be okay. The doctors didn't understand what she was saying. And after looking at the results of the damage done, neither did I. She was so strong and conclusive that even Andrew's great father felt she didn't really understand the gravity of the situation. But she turned out to be right. Right, Melody? She turned out to be right.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Now, the point of this is that they were attacked by terrorists. And is he going to blame that on Democrats? This guy shouldn't have been in the country. He didn't say he was here illegally. But he shouldn't have been here. I actually don't know the circumstances.
Amazing.
No, he was
I said, "Where
pretty
does this
vetted
woman come
from
She was
working,
positive.
Oh, right.
if I remember right, alongside
With
Americans
God's help,
in
Andrew has
Afghanistan.
battled
Yes.
back from the edge of death. And we're talking about the edge of death.
It's horrible.
On his way to a
So
miraculous
all three of
recovery.
the
He's got a little work to do.
soldiers get a moment
He's
in the
doing great.
State of the Union, and that's
Nice
good.
to see you. He's a good-looking guy. Nice to see you. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much.
I mean, I think it makes total sense to, of course, to give them a moment and to honor them on the national stage like this. But I actually think it's also risky in some ways for the president. People don't
So,
like
Andrew,
these
while
National
you're
Guard
up,
deployments.
now
They're
I'm
worried
going
about their
to
coming to their
ask
state.
A highly
And
respected General James Seward to present Staff Sergeant
that's
Andrew
tricky.
Wolf and the great
Yes.
family of Sarah Beckstrom.
So they're
with
going
the
to get
award created by our late great President George Washington
Oh,
himself.
wow.
It's called the Purple Heart.
I mean, this is great, but does it feel to you that there's more storytelling and more emotion and more accusations and rage than addressing the problems Americans are concerned about. The reason he's so far underwater. There's a lot of feeling and a lot of drama, and a lot of this action in the gallery, but I'm not hearing what he's going to be doing for people. Am I missing something?
The housing policy moment was a moment, but kind of wonky. No one's going to really remember. Maybe a few things if he gets to some more healthcare stuff, but that's why he slipped with independence so much. You know, this to your point, this plays to a base that maybe is still watching, that
We love you
of
all.
course wants to stand and celebrate with him.
We're proudly
But to
restoring
independents that are
safety for
telling
Americans at
Republicans
home,
that
and
they
we
don't
are
agree with the
also
economic policies,
restoring
the
security
average
for
American that is telling
Americans
Republicans
abroad.
that they need
Our
more
country
help,
has never been stronger.
there's not
In
much
my
there yet in the
First 10
speech.
months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia.
Okay.
Isn't it funny?
He did not end
Sick
8
people.
wars. He did not.
Cambodia and
All there is
Thailand,
to it.
Pakistan and India would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for your help. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jared.
War. Had you ever heard of these wars? There was no war at all.
And I also want to thank the man they report to,
Or
Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Thank you, Marco.
now he is walking a very interesting tightrope. He obviously was not a Trumper to begin with, and he's managing somehow at this point to win the loyalty of MAGA without really being fully part of it.
People like you. You know, Marco got 100%
There's
of
right.
the votes.
Yeah,
when
and
he
apparently
was in
just today or
Congress. I think our
yesterday, he
next
was on
one
Capitol Hill
about,
briefing the gang invade
54%.
about Iran.
And some of the
I mean,
Democrats are now saying, I can't believe
There's a
I
lot on
approved
Rubio's
that
plate
guy.
right now.
And he said it's an honor that they feel that way, right, Marco? You have done a great job. Great
Well, Mary
Secretary
Alice,
of
you
State. I
said the
think he'll
word
go
that
down
we
as
haven't
the
heard
best
yet.
ever.
Iran. The President of the United States has put more American troops and military hardware and weapons facing an enemy than any president since
Under the
invasion of Iraq.
ceasefire I
There's more
negotiated,
forces
every
in the
single
Middle East than there has
hostage,
been
both
since
living and
the
dead,
beginning of the Iraq
has
War.
been
What is he going to do
returned
with them? Is he
home.
going to
Can you
talk to the
believe
American
that?
people about that?
I mean, that was a big question for me going in tonight, as we were talking about before, Terry. You know, was this going to be a moment where he made the case to
Right.
the American people for a strike or not? Is it
Nobody
all just
thought it
for
was
show
possible.
to try to get Iran to the
Nobody
negotiating
thought
table
that
again?
was possible.
You know,
Both living
that's
and
a
dead,
whole
and
lot
his
of show.
parents, who had a dead son, their boy.
But,
They'd
you
always
know,
tell
he
me
hasn't
their boy. They
explained
wanted
what
him
his
as much
demands
as though
really
he were
are, what
living.
his line really
It was,
is.
an
And I
amazing
was
period of
expecting
time.
it to be a bigger
Came
part of the speech tonight.
back,
Yeah.
and when we got all of the living hostages back, and many, many before them, but I always said those last 20 are going to be very tough, but we got many, many more, hundreds. But I said those last 20 are going to be tough. We got them back, but we only got back
Maybe we're just
14 or 15
maybe we're just not there yet.
of the dead of the 28.
Well, but he's amassed
believe it or
a
not,
gigantic
Hamas
American military
worked
force
along with
poised
Israel,
to attack
and they dug and they dug
Iran,
and they
which
dug,
is a powerful
tough-
country. It's much more
tough thing
powerful
to
than
do.
Venezuela. And
going through bodies
I
all
can't
over.
imagine any other president who's
Passing
been
up
preparing for military
100
action of
bodies
that
sometimes
level.
for each one that they
Didn't
found.
look at the camera and
job.
tell the
And,
American people, here's what's at stake.
They finally got it
Here's
back
why
to
it's so
27.
important. Here's why I
And then
think we
Steve
might have to
and
go to
Jared,
war.
they got it back to 28.
Not a
They found
whisper
all
out of this
28.
man.
Nobody thought that was possible, but we did
No.
it. And I remember the family of the 28th. They were so grieved, but they were so happy as it's possible to be. They had their boy back. The mother said, "Sir, we have our boy back." What a period of time that was, but we got them all back. So thank you both very much. Great job.
The speeches feel good. feel bad. Feel good about Trump.
And we're working very
Feel
hard
bad
to
about
end
Democrats.
the ninth war,
Not much
the
means.
killing and slaughter between Russia and Ukraine, where 25,000
I mean, so far, the
soldiers are
only
dying each and every
real
month.
bill
Think of
he's
that,
asked members of Congress to pass
25,000
is
soldiers
one
are
that even
dying
Republicans don't love.
month.
So there's not like
A
a
war
lot
which would have never
of a
happened
to-do
if
list.
I were
Often State of the
president.
Unions
Would
are a
have never
to-do list.
happened.
My to-do list,
As
here's what I think should
president,
be
I will
your
make
to-do
peace
list.
wherever I can.
Here's
but
why I'm
I will
explaining to the
never
voters
hesitate
that
to
this is our
confront
to-do
threats
list.
to America.
That's not what this
Wherever
is.
we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an
Okay, here we
attack
go.
on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer.
It was a spectacular feat of arms, truly, that they were able to do that.
Right, but if the nuclear program was, to use his word, obliterated, he just took a serious reason for further strikes off the table.
Great
For
point.
decades, it had been
Let's
the
listen.
policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb. And just over the last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like 32,000 protests, 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is
I don't know anything about this.
some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue. They're starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference
Well, that got a number of Democrats standing. I mean, he's
My
not wrong.
preference
That's
is to
a
solve
been
this problem
U.S.
through
policy through many
diplomacy.
administrations.
But one
course.
thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
The strikes was that we sent them
He said
back
obliterated.
years. Yeah, he said obliterated. He said sent it back a decade, and now they're on the verge of it again.
That is incoherent.
Is this about regime change?
And no
or what?
nation should ever doubt America's resolve. We have the most powerful military on earth. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called Peace Through Strength, and it's been very, very effective.
I don't know.
A spectacular
Thanks
feat of
to
arms, as I said. Now we have to.
in Congress
full-on
investing
war?
that record number of dollars, have no choice, in the United States Armed Forces. Also creating a lot of jobs, but we're not even
I
doing
guess.
it for
I
that
guess
reason.
if that's all we're going to hear about
Because, as I
Iran,
said,
then
we
it
have more
depends on what
jobs,
happens
more people
next.
working today
Because if
than
he
ever
actually,
before in
if
the
we're
history of
actually
our
looking at a
country.
military strike,
And
big or
NATO
small,
countries are friends
that
and
was
allies.
not
They
enough
are. There are
justification.
friends and there are allies
That didn't
have
set
just
a
agreed
line.
at
That
my
didn't explain
very
a why.
strong request
that didn't give an
to
ultimatum.
pay 5% of
So
GDP for military defense rather than
I
the
don't know.
2%, which they weren't paying. We
I mean,
were
I'm
paying
shocked,
almost
actually.
all of NATO.
Yeah.
Because everything
Now they're paying
I'm
5
hearing,
as opposed to not paying 2.
everything I'm seeing indicates that he's loaded the weapon
Yeah.
for bear, right? For bear hunting. There's a
Yeah.
tremendous
And
amount of
getting that
military
5%
power.
was something which everyone
Unprecedented
said would never be done,
since the
could not
invasion of
happen.
Iraq.
We got it really easy.
Ready
It
to
was
go.
one meeting.
Right in that region.
And big difference
And that's
between
all he's gonna say
2% that's
about it?
not paid. We were paying the freight.
I
of
mean,
many
maybe
of
it
them.
really
Very few
is.
were
I mean,
paid up.
the
Now
diplomacy
5%
part
then
of
they're
gumbo
paid.
diplomacy,
And
that it's
everything
really
we send
there
over
just to
to
try to force them to
Ukraine
the table. But
is sent through NATO, and they pay us
but I
in
agree
full.
with you. I mean, obviously, the reason
They pay
that
us
our town has
totally
been
in
on
full.
edge, and people
Every
we
branch
talk
of our
to
armed
at the
forces
State
is
Department and
setting
on Capitol Hill have been
records
so on edge
for
about whether
recruitment. This is so
they're actually
exciting.
getting ready
And
for a
every
strike is
service
because they
member
put all the
recently-
hardware there. You know, hundreds of millions of dollars to move all that hardware to the region. So was it just for show? And if it wasn't just for show, the
And
American
every
people did not
service
get a
member
reason.
recently received a warrior dividend of
$1,776.
$1,776.
It's cute. But I got to tell you, it reminds me of when Putin put his army around Ukraine. I was in Ukraine, and the Ukrainians said,
You know,
"No,
they
he's
put
just
it on my desk. We
bluffing.
got the money
We'll
from
figure this
tariffs
out."
and other things.
What
a
do
lot
you
of
do
money.
with an
Yeah,
army
we
that
have
you line
more
up
money than
basically
people
on the borders
understand.
of a country,
Have to rebuild
and then
that
you pull
program a little
back?
bit, but it won't take long.
This is a very worrisome
So we got the
moment.
money, and it was
And he didn't say much about it.
$1,775, and they wanted my approval. And I said, "What's the number?" $1,775. I said, "Wait a minute. For one
Well,
more
we said-
dollar, we can have $1,776."
Give a reason. I mean, was the reason how they treated protesters?
said,
It was
"We're gonna
horrible.
figure that." I
Of course,
never
it was
asked
how they
anybody
treated
if we could
protesters. Was
afford
the
it.
reason
One more dollar. I said
military,
1776.
build up from
And I
a
said,
missile
"That's great."
threat
And I'll
to
tell you what,
Israel?
our
Like, is the
military, that
reason
was
still the nuclear
4
program?
months ago,
Not
our
clear.
military. I never
Just
see
not
a
clear.
person in the military that doesn't thank me for it. So we're honored to do it. They deserve it. And we call it 1776. It was great. And we love our military. We love our law enforcement. We love our firemen. You know, the firemen don't get mentioned enough. We love our firemen. We're also
Thing I do like about Trump since the beginning, since 2015. I love how he says "our" when he talks about nurses and firefighters and soldiers. Our. I love that.
We're also restoring American security and dominance in
I
the
do love our
Western Hemisphere,
firefighters.
acting to secure our national interests and defend our country from violence, drugs, terrorism, and foreign interference. For years, large swaths of territory in our region, including large parts of Mexico, really large parts of Mexico, have been controlled by murderous drug cartels. That's why I designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and I declared illicit fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
That's just the terminology. I guess you can call it that, but it's not.
And with our new military campaign, we have stopped record amounts of drugs coming into our country and virtually stopped it completely coming in by water or sea. You probably noticed that.
I guess he's talking about the military strikes on
We very seriously
boats.
damaged their fishing industry also. Nobody wants to go fishing anymore. We've also
I don't
taken
really think
down
that's a
one of the
funny
most
joke,
sinister
actually.
cartel kingpins of all. You saw that yesterday.
Just like, I guess he's joking about the
January.
threat of blowing up fishing boats in the
Yes.
Caribbean.
In January, elite American warriors carried out one of the most complex, spectacular feats of military competence and power in world history. No one's seen anything.
was another
Foreign
amazing
leaders, I
feat
won't
of
tell you
arms.
Who called me and they said, very impressive, very good. They couldn't believe, they all watched. They saw what happened. This is a different fighting force that we had years ago when
Yes.
we fought to tie. You know, it's a great fighting force. I'm so proud of it. Look at Space Force. Space Force is my baby because we did that. My baby is becoming so important.
It is, I'm sure. But the Venezuela operation and the Iran nuclear strike on the Iran nuclear facilities
And America's armed
has given him
forces
confidence.
overwhelmed all defenses and utterly defeated an enemy, good fighters, to end the reign of outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro and bring him to face American justice.
In the military, retired military, he said that,
And
that
this was an
he thinks
absolutely
it always goes
colossal
this
victory
way.
for the security of the United
Missions
States.
always
and it
succeed
also
like
opens up a bright new beginning for the people of Venezuela. We're working closely with the new president of
But
Venezuela,
what a just
Delcy Rodriguez,
lack of
to unleash
justification they make for
extraordinary
people.
economic gains
I mean,
for
fine,
both of our
Maduro,
countries and to
you
bring
making
new hope to those
you
who
know,
have
a drug
suffered so
trafficking
terribly.
case, and
They really
sort of
did suffer.
face
With us tonight
American
is
court.
Alejandro
But this is
Gonzalez. She grew
the
up
breath
in a
after
tight-knit
talking about just
Venezuelan
blowing up
family and
ships
was
out of the
especially
water,
close to her beloved
where I
Uncle
guess the legal
Enrique.
justification, because
But
we've gotten
after
no formal
Enrique
legal
ran
justification
for
from the White
office and
House,
opposed
is that
Maduro,
they're
he was
terrorists.
kidnapped by Maduro's security forces.
So
and
he
thrown
wants to have
into
it
the
both
regime's
ways. He wants to provide
really
no
infamous prison
justification in the
Caracas.
law.
Alejandro feared she would
And
never see her uncle
his
again. She
DOJ
feared
is
for
still
her
threatening to
own
go
life
after
also.
several Democratic members of
But
Congress
since the
who are
raid, we
veterans
have
or who
worked
are
with
still
the
in
new
the military,
leadership, and they have
because they have the
ordered
audacity to
closure
say
of that
that
vile prison
people
and released hundreds
should be
of
legal.
political prisoners already, with more to come.
It's a
Alejandro, I'm pleased to inform you that
tricky
not
mental
only has your
gymnastics to
uncle
justify
been
every bit of
released,
that.
but
Well, it's about
he
the
is
oil.
here tonight. We brought him over to celebrate
oil.
his freedom with you in person. Enrique, please come down.
He's reuniting a family. That's actually a lovely thing. Maduro was a gangster, Chavez before him, and they immiserated and impoverished a country that should be wealthy, that was a beautiful place. But once again, based on what law? And now we are controlling Venezuela's oil production under what law? And Trump himself says he personally will decide what to do with the billions of dollars that we are taking from the Venezuelan oil fields. I mean, there's no law around that.
Thank you, Enrique. Have a good time. Nice to have you back, Enrique.
I mean, that is
There were many
special. Like
heroes on
there are a
that
lot of
January
families
day
that
to
are
capture
Yes.
Maduro.
pretty-
Really great heroes.
Yes.
It was very dangerous. They knew we were coming. They were all set. But the deeds of
Yeah,
one
they've said
warrior
that,
that night
by next
will
month
live
they should
forever
see
in the
a
eternal
significant
chronicles
growth in
of
production out of Venezuela.
military valor.
Like I was saying, pretty
Chief
interesting
Warrant
that Chris Wright was
Officer
just there on the
5,
ground, the highest ranking
Eric
U.S. official
Slover,
to be on the ground since
planned the mission
Maduro's
and
capture. That
the
was just, I think, last
flight
week.
lead in the
So,
cockpit.
like, they're not shying
first
away from the
helicopter.
oil
A
factor.
big,
That is-
beautiful, powerful helicopter. It was a massive Chinook carrying, as you can imagine, many, many American warfighters. Wearing the dog tags, his wife Amy had blessed with holy water before he left. She knew it was going to be a rough one. Eric steered the Chinook under the cover of night and descended swiftly upon Maduro's heavily protected military fortress. This was a major military installation, protected by thousands of soldiers and guarded by Russian and Chinese military technology. How did that work out? Not too good. While preparing to land, enemy machine guns fired from every angle, and Eric was hit very badly in the leg and hip, one bullet after another. He absorbed 4 agonizing shots, shredding his leg into numerous pieces. And yet, despite the fact that the use of his legs was vital to successful helicopter flight, legs are the most important part of flying a helicopter, to deliver the many commandos who would capture and detain Maduro was the only thing Eric was thinking about. Then, even as he was gushing blood, which was flowing back down the aisle, helicopter lands at a steep angle. The machine gun stood right in front of him. They were right in front of him, 2 machine gunners who escaped the wrath of the previous planes. Eric maneuvered his helicopter with all of those lives and souls to face the enemy and let his gunners eliminate the threat. Turned the helicopter around so the gunners could take care of business, saving the lives of his fellow warriors from what could have been a catastrophic crash deep in enemy territory. Only after safely landing the helicopter with all the warriors aboard in the exact right spot, which was vital to the mission, we probably would have had to maybe cancel the mission if that didn't happen.
Run thing. It was.
Eric told his co-pilot, also wounded, but not as gravely, to take over. I'm about ready to pass out.
Huh. It's a great
The
story.
success of the entire mission and the lives of his fellow warriors hinge on Eric's ability to take the searing pain. It was unbelievable what's happened to his legs of the bullets and keep on flying and landing, and people knew what was happening. Everybody in the back of the helicopter knew because they saw the blood pouring down the aisle. Chief Warrant Officer Slover is still recovering from his serious wounds, but I'm thrilled to say that he is here tonight with his wife, Amy. Eric and Amy, come on in.
He's turned this into a show. Presidents have always used it as a theater to drive home their points and to lift people's spirits and to say what they love about America. But this is every minute has something like this. It is, once again, though, a demonstration. It was a spectacular feat of American arms. And it did stun the Chinese in particular, who had set up those defenses that they were just meaningless when it came time for the American military to go in. Well, good for
And I
him.
think people, Americans want to celebrate
Yes.
a military win, sure, and want to be proud of their military. I'm a military spouse. We want to be proud of our military. I am not convinced
So
when
we
it comes
have
to
a
electoral
surprise.
politics that the average American thinks
In recognition
Venezuela
of
and what
Eric's
happened with
actions
Maduro
above
is some
and
winning
beyond the
issue for
call
them.
of duty.
In fact, we saw a number of
I would now
Republicans
like to
say,
ask
"Is
General
this America first?"
Jonathan Braga
So
to
I
present Chief Warrant
it's that kind of
Officer
like
Slover
balance between pulling at the
with our nation's
heartstrings
highest
and a lot of
military
Americans.
award, the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Wow.
Getting the Medal of
Wow.
Honor. Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That
Good for
is
him.
amazing. That sky blue ribbon.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Wow. He saved the mission. And the president described it. It had been reported before. It was a close run thing. That chopper goes down, and we're in big trouble in the middle of nowhere, basically.
Wow.
Don't know how many medals of honor there have been. I'm going to say 300. Could be high. And most of them were in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much, Eric and Amy. Great to get to know you. I met with them and with a lot of their fellow warriors at Fort Bragg recently. You notice the name Fort Bragg,
3,547.
we brought it back. We won the First World War with it, the Second World War with it, and then they decided to change the name. So we changed it back. Everybody wanted to change back too. And 10 of Eric's fellow warriors from that incredible night of victory will also be receiving medals at a private ceremony that will soon be held at the White House, and Eric will be there. Thank you.
All right, so just to show how rare this is, since it was instituted, 40 million Americans have served in the armed forces since the Medal of Honor was instituted. And fewer than 4,000 have won it, most of them in the Civil War.
Thank you, Eric. That's a big one.
It is.
Yeah, that
Tonight
is.
we've celebrated many truly extraordinary American patriots, but there is one last living legend to honor before we go.
Okay, who's it going to
He
be?
is one more heroic American aviator. Navy fighter pilot. Royce Williams served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, flying more than 220 missions. In the skies over Korea in 1952, Royce was in the dogfight of a lifetime, legendary dogfight. Flying through blizzard conditions, his squadron was ambushed by 7 Soviet fighter planes. It was his first aerial combat of the war, and despite being massively outnumbered and outgunned, Royce led the takedown of 4 enemy jets and almost destroyed the others, vanquishing his adversaries while taking 263 bullets to his own plane and being seriously hurt. His story was secret for over 50 years. He didn't even want to tell his wife, but the legend grew and grew. But tonight, at 100 years old, this brave Navy captain is finally getting the recognition he deserves. He was a legend long before this evening. Royce, please stand up, and I will ask the First Lady of the United States to present Captain Royce Williams with his Congressional Medal of Honor.
I mean, he has to be nearly 100 if he fought in World War II. Yeah. He does. My grandfather lied on his application. He was 17, said he was 18. Wow. He does. I would like to look like that at 99. Totally. Wow. Big smile, I know. But this is a lot about honoring all these other heroes, which is exciting and which is fun and feels good. But surprising, Trump's speech, actually.
Yes. So I want to say something about that ribbon. I covered the opening of the World War II Memorial on the Mall, and there were a dozen Medal of Honor winners who walked by afterwards. And they walked by, and I was next to a bunch of Marines who all turned around, and gave him the salute.
Wow.
And I thought there were like at least a dozen.
Wow.
Old men at that time. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, back then it was a conversation about getting it done before that generation passed. So
thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but I was informed I'm not allowed to give it to myself, and I wouldn't know why I'd be taking it, but if they ever open up that law, I will be there with you someday.
He'll find a
But,
way.
that's our
This is
highest
frightening me.
Congressional Medal of Honor, and that's a big
I spoke
thing,
too
and
soon about how
it's
he'd
an
made
honor
the
to be in the
speech
same
honoring
room with
other
you.
heroes.
Thank you both very
And then
much,
he
Eric.
joked that
Thank
he
you.
was jealous. He did, but
And it does feel like he wanted to lift the spirit of the country a little bit. Get angry at the Democrats, hold their feet to the fire on immigration, not offer a lot in the way of practical solutions to cost of living, a little health care thing here or there. That's not going anywhere.
250 years is a long time in the life of a nation.
no, this
But
is
in another sense, it's really
the
a mere
poll says that
moment
you're
in
still
the
upset
eye
about
of
the economy
history.
and you don't like what's happening
Two of
with
the
ICE,
gentlemen we
but come
met
on,
in
feel good to
the
be
gallery
American.
this evening took their first breaths 1 century ago. 100 years before that, on July 4th, 1826, the author of the Declaration of Independence, brilliant, Thomas Jefferson, drew his last breath. Just a single long human lifespan separates the giants who declared and won our independence from the heroes who stand among us tonight. Everything our nation has done, everything we have achieved, has been the work of those few great lifetimes. In those brief chapters, Americans built this nation from 13 humble colonies into the pinnacle of human civilization and human freedom.
Now,
the strongest, wealthiest, most powerful, most
this is
successful
his end,
nation
clearly.
in all of history.
We're just at
Americans
about 2 hours,
ventured
a little
out
short of
across
2
the
hours.
daunting,
He holds the record,
dangerous
so we're going to see if
continent.
he breaks it.
We carved paths through an unforgiving wilderness, settled a boundless frontier, and tamed the beautiful but very, very dangerous Wild West. From empty marshes and wide open plains, we raised up the world's greatest cities. Together, we mastered the world's mightiest industries and shattered history's monstrous tyrannies. And we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel. And then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world. All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs. For years they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside. But that great betrayal is over, and they will never be forgotten again. Because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay. Well, there we go. And I am informed that the president did just break his own record. That is the longest State of the Union address in the modern history of the presidency. Since the beginning of the Republic, of course, the president has been required by the Constitution to deliver State of the Union or to deliver it by mail or by document. But in the modern history of speeches, that's the longest one ever given. And what the president did there was really, two things. He wanted to essentially tell Americans that Democrats can't be trusted on immigration and other issues. He did have a couple of specific policy proposals on retirement and on children getting a little bit of money at the beginning of their lives so that they could save for retirement then. But really, that's just an expansion of an existing credit. For a lot of the speech was filled with these emotional, dramatic moments. It wasn't even that substantive, it seemed to me. Maybe I missed something, but I don't think so. I think what we heard was a president who was trying to make emotional points against his opponents, rallying his base, and try to remind Americans who may be on the fence that he's the all-American president and they aren't. Mary Alice, what do you think?
Yeah, as I said earlier, State of the Union addresses are normally a to-do list he normally a president says, here's what I'm going to keep trying to do for you. Here's what I think Congress should get done. There was not a lot on his list, even though Americans have been asking for a whole lot more. They've been asking for more help on healthcare costs and grocery costs and energy costs. And he gave this very big sort of moonshot ending about how Americans, can achieve anything that we strive for, but there wasn't a goal listed
Right.
that we were all supposed to strive for. And I do think that's, of course, some of those emotional moments land. Of course they do. But there's a lot of Americans right now who are looking for this government to do more, or at least not get in the way. And I don't feel like like you said, he offered much of much substance for his administration going forward, or for Republicans, frankly, to run on in midterms. And they've been looking for some of that guidance and what to run on. They know that his polling is underwater, and that it's an uphill battle for them to keep the House.
Absolutely. So let's bring in our guest once again, Scott Colomb. He is running for the Senate in the state of Mississippi, running as a Democrat and currently a district attorney there. Scott, one of the reasons we're bringing in, I got to hear you speak, and everybody who does is impressed by your passion for politics and what you want to get done and hope to get done. But I'm just going to say it, a black man running as a Democrat in Mississippi, that's a long shot. And we'll talk about that. But first, let me just get your reaction. You are hoping next year to be in the chamber, right, for this speech. What did you make of it?
Well, I have to tell you, I agree with Mary Alice. There's a disconnect from what we heard from DC and what voters are feeling in Mississippi. I campaign all over the state, the Gulf Coast, the Mississippi Delta. I'm constantly asking voters what matters to them. And they're telling me grocery prices, utility bills, healthcare costs. I mean, it's going up 200, 300%. The Republican Insurance Commissioner says 200,000 Mississippians are likely to drop off insurance because of the lack of federal support. And that's people that I go to church with. That's people that coach Little League baseball. And so there's a big disconnect from what people are talking about in DC and what voters care about in Mississippi. And that's why it's not a long shot, Terry. I know for people outside of Mississippi that don't follow Mississippi politics, we've been breaking the glass in Mississippi for a while. You look at Brandon Presley, he ran for governor in Mississippi. He got within 27,000 votes of winning, 3%. He ran on issues that are important to Mississippians, expanding Medicaid for working people, cutting the grocery tax. You look at last year, we just broke the supermajority in the state Senate. People thought we'd never do that. And it was because we ran on raising the minimum wage, fighting for affordability. And that's what Mississippians care about. And this is the year we're going to break the glass, because we have a senator in Cindy Hyde-Smith that is totally absent in Mississippi and totally absent on the issues that matter to Mississippi voters.
Moment where you could make some history here, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, when I ran for district attorney in 2015, I ran against a 27-year incumbent. They told me, listen, there's no way you can win. You're running on criminal justice reform that's not popular in your district. And what I learned from that campaign is, if you talk about your values, if you listen to voters, if you meet them where they are, you have a chance. You got to raise money. And that's why I'm really happy about the fact that we were able to outraise her in
Q4. People, and it's a very exciting thing that we're doing.
I'm going to see if we can get rid of this feed
fast.
somehow.
I wanted to do it. I understand.
I'm going to ask my producers if we can just turn down the sound, because this is a White House feed we're taking.
History. Roger Penske, everybody
So let's
knows,
see.
He's a legend in many different things.
What do you think, guys?
In racing, he's won the Indianapolis 500 20 times.
Now, I've turned it
on the
down.
18th time, I said, he's been a friend of mine for a long time, but on the
What do you
18th
think?
time, I said, I think I'm going to give him the
I'm
presidential
asking my
medal
producers
freedom,
now, because we are going to be able to shout over this.
Japan,
No.
Germany, Roger,
Wait.
right? Everybody, they want to win the Indy 500.
I've turned it down. I can hear you
They
guys.
spend billions
'cause I've
of
turned him
dollars getting
down,
a car.
but
This
I don't
guy
think our
wins it.
viewers can.
I
Is
can't
that right?
He won it so many times that he ended up buying the track. So now he owns a track. He owns a race. It says pretty good. Now he's won it though.
Are you still hearing Trump full bore?
I'm hearing them, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Can we lose Trump? Can we lose the audio on that feed?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
They're going to pot it down? No. All right. So it feels like It feels like we aren't going to be able to.
I think this may be maybe God telling us it's been a long night. I've got 2 young daughters, 7 and 9. I've got to take to school in the morning.
All right.
I hope to join you again, Terry.
Yes.
I'm going to make you a big believer in Mississippi. I'm going to make your audience a big believer. I got to say one thing. Cindy Hyde Smith, she stuck her foot in her mouth today. She talked about how people that can't afford beef because the prices are too high, they shouldn't worry about that because there's plenty of protein, other proteins they can eat. That tells you how disconnected she is from voters and how they're suffering. And so, she's the type of person we can be. And so that's how we're going to do it. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. We'll get you on the podcast soon.
Yes, sir. Cheers.
All righty. Thank you very much. And Mary Alice, we made it through the longest, through a lot of issues and some other technical issues. But thank you very much, Mary Alice. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me, Terry. It's always fun to talk to you.
All right. And with that, we'll say good night and good luck.